They keep you informed on the Dodge County landscape. We keep the inside of your home looking great. Professional Floor Covering welcomes you to the next segment of Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome into Community Comment. Today, Community Comment, as always, brought to you by Professional Floor Covering and Abbey Design Center. We want to remind you that they have CoreTech flooring. That's right. If you're looking for floors that are built for real life, stop in the Professional Floor Covering. They have the large displays of CoreTech luxury flooring. If you're like me, go take your feet up, put your feet on it, get your shoes off, check it out. Randy's usually okay with that. It is 100% waterproof, scratch resistant, and a great choice for pets, kids, and busy homes. So if you're like me and you got those high traffic areas, it's going to cover you very well. Plus, it's got a built-in cork underlayment, which means it's quieter, it's warmer, and it's a lot more comfortable underfoot. You can get the beautiful look of hardwood or tile without the high maintenance. Visit Professional Floor Covering at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam or online at proflr.com. Welcome in, everybody, again to Taking Care of Business, or not Taking Care of Business, Community Comment. I got two shows today. Can't already tell. It's been a long day. Sitting down with me today, we have Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Glad to have you on.
Happy to be here, as always.
It's always great to get a chance to talk with you and kind of catch up on what's going on at the Sheriff's Department. Obviously, you guys do a great job of keeping everybody informed. I myself have the, and I'm going to plug this now for people who don't have it, the Dodge County Sheriff's app on my phone, which over the last couple of days has been incredibly handy because we have those severe weather things coming through, and sometimes we aren't very good about checking the weather app or checking what's going on with the weather, but there was the Sheriff's app just pushing out those notifications every time something changed, which we always appreciate. But yeah, welcome on.
Yeah, that app is an incredible piece of equipment that we have, technology that can get information out to the public quickly, whether it be weather or public information notices, or just some good old fun that we like to have to engage the community. The night of the tornado warning, I am going to take a little bit of credit for stopping it at the county line, because I was listening to it, and it was we got the tornado, we got the radar. Is showing a lot of rotation coming into Dodge County from the Rosendale area, and I'm hearing other stations saying we're going to have hurricane-force winds in the Lamira area. And I went up to Waupun, and I was in Waupun, and I'm just going to take the credit because I was there. It just fell apart, and I'm just saying because I was there. I was like, no, sheriff's here, we're done.
Well, there you go.
And it just fell apart. It was wonderful the way that all just fell apart. Unfortunate for what happened up in the Menasha area, but thankfully here in Dodge County, really we didn't have much damage, if any at all. It was a welcome change from what we have seen over the last couple of years with all the tornadoes that we've had here in Dodge County.
Yeah, well, as somebody who lives in Waupun, I appreciate you going up there and stopping that tornado and keeping it out of the county. Of course, the app is not the only way with which you guys choose to communicate with the citizens of Dodge County. You guys also garnering a bit of a social media presence.
We really are, and part of that is my secretary, Summer Flash, works really hard to help keep us active in social media, something she has a passion about. It's not the only thing that she does. She is a very busy girl, and we keep her busy all week, but she does take time out of her week to put together our media releases that go out. She sends all of those out. She helps put together quite a few videos that go out. Free Ride Friday, if you haven't seen that one, the second and fourth Fridays of every month, they're always fun. We highlight a warrant. There's a purpose for it, but we have fun with it.
Right.
And a lot of people say, well, why are you doing all of that? What are you wasting your time doing social media? You have to understand that today's age group, the younger crowd coming up, that's how they get their information. That's
right.
How they get their news. They don't turn on Channel 6, Channel 12, Channel 3. They don't necessarily tune into Daily Dodge, unfortunately.
Right.
They are getting it from TikTok, Facebook, all those other social media presence, Instagram. I shouldn't even say Facebook anymore, because Facebook is our generation.
Right.
It really isn't the younger group. So we need to find a way to engage with them, and it's part of engagement with the community. Not only are we giving them information, but we're showing them that we are human, that
right.
we can have fun, that we are people just like they are, and trying to welcome them into our environment a little bit and understand that behind every one of these uniforms and badges is a person. And I've had some really good, positive community interaction out in the public. For example, I've been out at some parades recently, even a year ago, shortly after Free Ride Friday started. And I've got high school kids that came up and said, "Hey, can we get a picture with you?" And it gives the opportunity to start conversations, have fun with those people, and they see us as people. They interact with us better in when we actually need to interact with them for law enforcement purposes. And it really just is a very positive thing all the way around for our staff and for the community.
And just to kind of piggyback on that, I know right now especially there is a lot of strong feelings regarding law enforcement, regardless of what level, be it your city police or county police or state police. We all know about the incident that happened in Madison that has a lot of people right now talking. There's a lot of conversation being had, and I think it's probably now as important as ever to realize that there are people behind those badges. There are people behind those vests, and I think you guys do a pretty good job of getting that out there. I personally am a big fan of the Free Ride Fridays. I like the little fun stuff you guys do. It's always nice to know those interactions you have aren't always you see the lights behind you as you're driving down the road kind of thing.
Right. And I've had some people make comments on social media, and I call them my keyboard warriors. They'll come out and make comments, and a couple of them will said something like you guys are a joke. Well, obviously you're paying attention because you engage with us, so we're getting your attention as well. And one thing that I learned early on in my career is we need to tell our own story, because a lot of times if we just put out a press release and wait for the state or the regional media to pick it up, you always do a great job regardless of what it is here because you're our local partners. But once you get into Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay, those bigger markets, when they're starting to put things out on TV, they tell their version of the story. Right. And if they know that we are going to put out the facts and we are going to put it out in its unedited version, then they know they also need to do the same, because anybody can come to our app, come to our social media pages and see what we have said, and it can't be in conflict with what some of them in the media will put out, because a lot of times I had seen it even early on in my administration here as sheriff. I would maybe hold back on some things, and the Milwaukee media market especially would fill in some blanks that just were not accurate. And so we want that unfiltered approach, and not only with the press releases, but with who we are as well. And it's neat for our staff to be able to go out and say, "Hey, I just saw you on social media." I get that quite a bit because I'm the face of Free Ride Friday. Right. And they'll say, "Hey, I saw that Free Ride Friday. When's the next one coming up?" But I've got some of my other deputies coming up in some future ones. And I don't know if you saw the April Fool's one with the electric vehicle squad cars. If you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch it on our reels on our app. They're great, and those deputies, I'm sure, ran into people that said, "Hey, I saw that." It was one of our most watched videos, and very, very positive for our staff.
Absolutely, and a lot of fun for people. Yeah, go check it out. It's one that'll have you laughing for sure. Unfortunately, we do got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some other topics here. We're talking with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt on Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV.
powered by Daily Dodge, presented by Professional Floor Covering.
And welcome back into Community Comments here on 95.3 WBEV. Justin Ninjawilski here sitting down with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Dale, we could probably spend hours talking about all the different social media presences that are out there for police departments across the nation. And we were trying to talk during the break about some stuff we've seen that we find funny. But remind people before we move on to the next topic, how do they find your sheriff's office social medias besides checking out your app?
The app is the easiest way to find it. All of our reels are published on our app. We've got a reels section, but you can find us Dodge County SO or Dodge County Sheriff are typically our tag names. You're going to want to look for our particular star on Facebook, on Twitter, or X I should call it, on TikTok, Instagram. We even have a YouTube page for some of the longer videos that we put together. Not as much has been posted on that one, but those other social media presence. But the app is always the easiest place to find all of those reels.
There you go. Again, highly recommend people check it out, and highly recommend getting the app. I know it's available on the App Store for Android. Is it for Apple as well?
Yes.
I'm not an Apple guy, so there you go. So you can find it for either one. Good to have for information purposes, and not just for information purposes, but you can also submit like non-emergency tips and stuff through there as well.
Absolutely. We get a lot of those each and every day. Tips from I'm burning grass today, which is great because then we know you're doing a controlled burn, to thefts and things like that. The emergency stuff, the more pressing things we ask, go through dispatch directly.
Right.
It's going to get there faster. But if you have just some information you want to get to us, some complaints you want to give, we really do ask that you put a name and some contact phone number so we can get some follow-up. A lot of people don't, and that's problematic for us if we need follow-up. But great place to get information to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to move on to another topic we want to talk about a little bit, and this is something we kind of talked about the last time you were on, about how there was a little bit of fundraising going on to look at getting some additional equipment or improving some of the equipment that you guys have there at the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. Obviously, some equipment last time you were on, we talked about like the plates and the lifespan that they have, and of course, once they get damaged, they're no longer useful. They're something that's designed to be replenished.
Yep.
But there's other equipment as well, and you brought in a nice visual aid for us. Talk to us a little bit about how that process is going on and what you got there.
If you'd like to see this on Daily Dodge TV, trying to promote here for you.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can get you zoomed in a little bit. So
there you go. Here, I'll move it. So we've got a great poster that we put together, that Summer put together for me. Again, you see a lot of things that I do. Summer helps me out a lot with. This
Good
really,
job, Summer.
This really shows off some of the things that we have to replace each and every year. And they typically have a 5-year expiration, but we've got to replace some of these each and every year.
Right.
For example, these ballistic helmets that are up here in the top middle that we put on when we're going into some kind of an active shooter situation or something where it could become an active shooter type situation, or any risk, we want to put helmets on our guys that are ballistic rated. And right now we need to replace 66 of them because they've all expired on me, and I need to get these purchased really quickly. $46,000 is roughly the estimate that we have for those ballistic helmets. We've just outfitted all of our staff with rifle plates. We've got the other third that we talked about last month aren't here. They're on the way, and we're doing well there. We've got patrol vests that get replaced every 5 years. Crowd control gear. That's becoming more and more of a need across our country, unfortunately. We need some crowd control gear for our crowd control team so they're properly equipped if they ever need to do that. Our correction staff, you may not know this, but we've had a couple of attempted homicides against my correctional staff in the last couple of years. We have a recent charge of attempted homicide in the jail by an inmate against one of my correctional officers. We want to get them correctional stab vests so that if somebody creates a shank, which is what happens, we see it in the movies, that's a real thing that actually happens. We do our best to keep it minimized, but they have things within the jail that they're able to forge those types of things, and their cost about $650 each. And I have about 70 staff in there. That number adds up quickly. We have over here, we've got SWAT vests and helmets that we have to replace every year. Those are a little bit bigger and beefier. Obviously, they're going into critical incidents. SWAT shields, those are about $10,000 a piece. The SWAT vests and helmets, about $56,000 every 5 years that we need to pay to equip them. So a lot of great equipment that we need to get and hope we never have to use, and unfortunately we have to replace them regularly. Now, since our event that occurred last month, where one of my deputies was shot, we've had an overwhelming support from the community. Right. It has been incredible. And before Wednesday night, we had raised $42,000 just in people coming in and say, "Hey, I want to help out. Here's money. Go purchase the rifle plates. Go purchase other protective gear. Put some money towards our recurring costs." It has been overwhelming. And then Wednesday night, my wife, after she saw how much this impacted me through the weeks after my deputy was shot, and seeing how much it weighed on me that we don't have all the equipment that we need for our staff to keep them safe, and knowing we want to make sure every one of them goes home each and every night to their family, she put together a fundraising event, and we had that this Wednesday night. A couple days ago at the community center in Juneau. Chef Chance did a phenomenal job. If you've ever eaten Chef Chance's food,
he's so good.
Oh, if you haven't, go get some. It's phenomenal. He's a caterer, awesome chef. But he provided the food at cost for us, and we had all kinds of raffles, and we had an outstanding speaker. His name is Lieutenant Brian Murphy from the Oak Creek Police Department. Mm-hmm. You may recall him from the Sikh temple shooting. He was shot 15 times and survived. Very much because of the protective gear that he was wearing, which is inferior to what's available to us today.
Right.
And that man gave an outstanding speech about his experience and how important it is for us to make sure we're protecting our staff. We raised we don't have a final number yet, we're still tallying it all up, but about $18,000 at that event. So we're at about $60,000 we've raised. And I'm just going to pull this back out again and just take a look. The ballistic helmets are $46,000. The correction stab vests, remember I need 70 of them at $650. Just those two alone far exceed that $60,000 that we raised.
Right.
You look at some of the other costs. The rifle plates, $35,000 every 5 years. The SWAT gear, $55,000 every 5 years. That's expensive, and we're trying to make sure that we have a really good nest egg of money that we can keep purchasing these. Because to be honest, it is really hard to get these into the budget because with our normal costs, our wages and benefits, it is really hard to add things into the budget like these to get them paid for. So I'll put out this additional plea for assistance. If you would like to contribute to the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, to our protective gear for our staff to make sure they all go home, we will always welcome that. And we're going to set up a web page to do that. I believe Summer's got that done, and we're pretty close, if not completed. But if you just want to participate, drop off a check at the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, 124 West Street in Juneau. We're a government agency. It's all tax deductible if you're making any donations. Drop it off. We would be happy to put that into our account specifically for these purchases. It won't go towards anything else. Or if you're here in Beaver Dam and you want to stop by my wife's office at 324 South Spring Street, Cassandra Schmidt, Modern Woodman, she'd be happy to take it, and she'll get it to me as well. Just make it out to the same place, Dodge County Sheriff's Office. Mail it in, drop it off at one of those two locations. We really do appreciate the community's support. We were talking a little bit in the first segment about the woes of some law enforcement agencies that they're going through. One of my lieutenants, Lieutenant Wass, came up to me the other day after the fundraiser, and he said, "This just shows me how much our community supports us, and it is really an honor to work here in Dodge County where so many people are behind us and are willing to open up their hearts and their wallets for us to keep us safe." It has been a very emotional time for us over the last month and a half. Even though he walked out of a hospital with us, which was outstanding, the fact that it happened and the fact that I hired this young man to come into our agency and his family, his wife, were all behind us and never doubted his choice of the career. But the fact that I hired him and brought him into this, and here he's in a hospital because he was shot, that weighs heavily on those of us that are trying to take care of them, make sure they're safe, and why it's so important for us to work hard to obtain these items keep them as safe as we possibly can.
Yeah, I can only briefly imagine the amount of ownership that has to be taken when you're sitting in a position like that. Not just for your fellow officers out there, but also the ones that you bring onto the team. I do want to make a note that if you were paying attention to that graphic and the stuff that's on there, this is all defensive gear. This is all protective gear. I know sometimes people say, well, I don't want to, donate to the police department. I don't want to support them because I don't want it to go towards buying guns or bullets or something that's going to hurt people. This is all stuff that's meant to protect you and protect your officers from being injured, from being hurt.
That's exactly right. It's shields, it's plates, it's armor so that if we are shot at, that hopefully they bounce off.
Right.
Or get absorbed, and our staff are not impacted. Keep in mind that if we are coming to help you and one of our people go down, that's one less person that can come to help you, and now we have to divert resources to assist that person as well.
Right.
So if we can make sure that they are safe and can make it through those situations where rounds are flying, and I can tell you a month and a half ago, rounds were flying, and you don't want to think that would happen here in Dodge County, but that was a dog park here in Dodge County. If it can happen at a dog park, it can happen anywhere.
There you go. So, again, if you're interested in donating, reach out to the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, and they'll be more than happy to assist you with making that happen. We do have to take another quick break here. When we come back, we're going to dive into a lighter, more happy topic here on 95.3 WBEV.
They keep you informed on the Dodge County landscape. We keep the inside of your home looking great. Professional Floor Covering welcomes you to the next segment of Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back into Community Comment. Justin Ninjawilski here with you and talking with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Before we get into our next topic, we are going to go ahead and go to the phones. We have a caller on. Good morning, caller. You're on with the sheriff.
Hi, Ninja. How are you?
I am doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Hi, Dale. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tyler. Great to hear from you.
I didn't know if they were going to have you on this month or not. I was getting concerned.
We had a conflict this week, so we had to readjust the schedule.
Two things for you. The first thing is I want to know what you did with your wife on your anniversary a couple of weeks ago, which was my birthday. And then the second thing, has any of your deputies worked with any of the state police?
I'll start with that one first. We work with the State Patrol all the time. The State Patrol in Wisconsin is a little different than many of the other state police. There isn't state police here in Wisconsin. They are State Patrol, and their primary responsibility is traffic enforcement and crashes. They can assist us, but what most people don't know is they have arrest authority, but they can't initiate any investigation into crimes that are not traffic related. It's very specific in the state of Wisconsin, but we work with the State Patrol all the time. They have an office within our office for their troopers to come in, and they help us out with traffic enforcement and crashes all the time. The other question, what did I do with my beautiful bride? Well, I said to her, honey, since you've made arrangements for us to go and watch our daughter, who was in the SpongeBob performance at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater, that was the first night of the performances. She bought us tickets to go there. We had delicious popcorn while we were there and watching our daughter. I said, let's go do something during the day. And I said, well, let's go grab a nice dinner or something somewhere. And we were actually talking about this before, and I didn't get a chance to tell you. We also went to Wild Bill's in the Dells. You and I were talking about that before the show, and we had lunch there. But she wanted to take the kids along, and then we went bowling over in the Dells as well, and had a good time with the kids. And so, for the record, I tried to make it a very romantic lunch date with my wife, and she said, "Well, let's bring the kids along." So
that always bolsters the romance. Yeah,
absolutely. So if anybody out there says that, Sheriff, you weren't very romantic, I did try. But my wife preferred that we have the entire family, and whatever my wife wants, we'll just leave it there. But thank you, Tyler, for that question. Great question.
Yeah, like I said, and I was the one that called in your anniversary, and Wade didn't know it was your anniversary.
Oh, well, thank you. And happy birthday.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good day, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Tyler. And, of course, we understand how that goes. The whole family is involved, and happy wife, happy life.
I just got a kissing heart emoji from my wife.
Aw.
So she's listening.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it. The topic we wanted to move on to here, which you mentioned, family. This is a family outing, a family event. We've got Dodge County Fair just around the corner.
We do. We've got a lot going on. I know you guys are going to be busy out at Radio Park, and we are also going to be busy. We are virtually right across the street from each other because we've got our command post right across from Radio Park, and we've got a lot of activities going on out there. We have our staff that'll be out there like we are every year doing kid IDs. And let me tell you about kid IDs. I tried to pitch this one to a mom here about a week ago when her child went missing. I was in the area, was able to respond, located the child quickly. But what I said to her is, if you go on our Sheriff's Office app that we talked about before, and you click on the child ID link, you can submit information that includes a photo, their name, their birth date, their hair color, their eye color, the weight, those types of things. And we will print you out something that looks like a kid's driver's license. It's a child ID. It's great for them to have. It's great for a parent to have as well. If a child goes missing, you can hand it to one of us and say, this is who is missing, and we have all the information that we need immediately. We don't have to sit there and ask you 15, 20 questions. We can start checking immediately. If you do that child ID as well, we also have that in our system. So if you're out at the fair, we can pull it up. We can send it out to all of our deputies' cell phones immediately, and we know exactly who we're looking for. But you can do that at the fair. It's very easy. Just stop by our booth. Usually, I believe it's between 10 and 6 that they're out there doing those child IDs, and they're completely free. We'll just hand it to you, and it's a great tool so that we can assist if a child goes missing. Some other things out at the fair to think about. It's all about safety. For years, we have been doing checks on the carnival workers that are working out there to make sure we don't have anybody who's has warrants or shouldn't be there because they've got prior convictions for things they shouldn't be in a fair for. And the first year we had a number of people who were uninvited from the fair as a result of that shouldn't have been working the carnival rides. And every year we do those checks to make sure that we keep our community safe that are going to the fair. My deputies are out walking around. I'll be out walking around all week, and come up and talk to us, even if it's just to say hi. Summer will be walking around out there again and doing some more fun videos like she did last year. And I think we even already have a planned video of 2 of our deputies competing on the pull-up bar out there if the Marines are out there again.
They usually are out there, yeah.
They had a little competition here. Lieutenant Wass and Deputy Kaufman had a little pull-up competition, and Lieutenant Wass is like 10, 12 years older, and he won. So they're having a rematch out there, it sounds like. So we'll probably get some video of that. But then we want to make sure everybody is behaving as well. The beer tent tends to get a little nuts near the end of the night, and we're always out there making sure people are behaving themselves. We want people to drive carefully while you're out there. Drinking and driving, if you are on the grounds and you are drinking and driving, you're driving in a parking lot, you can be arrested before you even get to the road. We don't want to do that. But if you're out there creating hazard for everybody else enjoying the fair, just fair warning. Our deputies will be there, and they will place you under arrest for OWI in that parking lot if you are drinking and driving, especially if you're doing something that's dumb like spinning the tires, whipping your truck around, and things like that. Any dangerous activity like that will be addressed. And then underage drinking, we will enforce it. We do every year. And the reason we do is because people make poor choices when they're drinking. And when you're underage, there's a reason why there's an underage law. Your brains are still developing. You're still in that maturing stage of your life and make decisions that probably aren't always the best. And there's the laws in place. We will enforce it. And from time to time, we have undercover individuals that are out walking around. I did it a couple of years ago, and 16-year-olds didn't know me. Now that I'm kind of TikTok famous, they may know who I am. It might not work as well. But we will write underage drinking tickets, and you will be ejected from the fair. So we want it to be a good time. We don't want any fatalities that happen after the fact when people are driving home, and we've had that happen in the past. We don't want that. We want it to be a safe, fun experience because the fair is just fun. And then, of course, don't forget to stop by the Rotary food stand because it is the best food at the most cost-effective price. You can feed your family without going broke at the Rotary food stand. I'll be working out there as well, and it's just going to be an outstanding event once again this in a couple weeks.
I was going to say, two of my favorite things for seeing presence out there at the fair, besides looking across from Good Karma Park and seeing you guys sitting over there, just keeping an eye out on everything is always wonderful. But I love the traffic control. That's always handy, especially after the big concerts and everything. Yeah. So great seeing you guys out there. And then, of course, when I get to go by the Rotary and see you over there, flipping burgers and doing what you do, nice to see you out there doing your volunteer work as well.
So I'm just curious, is it going to be Wandering Wade again this year that's going to be out there? Or are we going to have Wally? I
believe Wandering Wade is he's locked himself in. I think he really enjoys that.
All right.
But of course we're going to be out there with a huge presence the entire fair. So feel free to swing on by and say hi while you're out there.
We'll do that. I have so much fun with you guys.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with you as well. We do have to take one more break. When we come back, we're going to hit our final segment here of Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV.
Providing this community beautiful floors and so much more, the team at Professional Floor Covering can't wait to connect with our friends through today's community comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Down again here with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Sheriff, one of the things I want to talk to you briefly about here, if we can touch on, you had recently sent out a press release with some updates about some lawsuit litigation that's involving yourself and some, I want to use the right term here, but some allegedly false claims about detainment.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of information on what's going on there?
So a couple months ago, back in March, we were accused of holding somebody in custody that was a legal resident of the United States. And this individual, her name is Sundes Nakvi. She got off a plane at O'Hare International Airport. She was detained for 90 minutes approximately at O'Hare. And then she claimed she was taken into custody there. She was taken over to Broadview ICE detention facility in Chicago. Then she was transported to Dodge County and surreptitiously released when people started asking questions. Well, absolutely none of that outside of the initial 90 minutes detention for a secondary screening was true. The rest of it was completely fabricated, and we held a press conference and we shared the information with the public back in April. The fact that she immediately after leaving the O'Hare Airport went on a 16-minute trip to Rosemont, Illinois, to a Hampton Inn and Suites. She stayed there for 3 days before she had her boyfriend pick her up and drive her here to Beaver Dam to the Holiday Inn. On the way, stopped at the Fireside Market in Slinger, hit a couple flock cameras on the way, and then her sister picked her up and took her back. That Sunday, Sunday morning, I think it was March 7th, there was a press conference that Cook County Commissioner, who was also running for Congress at the time, Kevin Morrison, and her sister, Sarah Afzal, went on a national and said, hey, this girl has gone missing. She's been detained, and we haven't heard from her in days, and we don't know where she is. Her phone has been off, except for a couple of pings that popped up of where her location were, which again, completely false, because she was never at the locations where these pings came on. And I can tell you from experience that you can fake locations on cell phones. That's most likely what happened here. Well, we've done some additional research since that press conference back in April. We've got the actual video of her going to the hotel, the Hampton Inn and Suites in Rosemont. I have video of her arriving in a cab, mulling around in the lobby, going up and getting her room at the exact time of the receipts that I had previously. And then I have video of her leaving, getting into the car that she drove to Beaver Dam in, the same car that we saw on camera on other locations. And then the real piece of this that makes this a conspiracy. This is not just a lawsuit against a couple people. This is a conspiracy now, a civil conspiracy, in which Kevin Morrison placed 5 phone calls to Sundas Nakvi while she was in this hotel. One of those phone calls she was on the phone for 52 minutes. That was shortly after she got to the hotel. He called her and talked to her right before she left the hotel to come to Beaver Dam. There were 5 phone calls. There were 69 text messages between her and her sister Sarah Afzal during that time. They knew. They 100% knew where she was, what she was doing, the fact that she was not detained, because I can tell you, when you're in the Dodge County Jail, you don't get to keep your phone.
Right.
You're not making phone calls on your cell phone for 52 minutes, and you're not making text messages. We have other means for communication with family. That's not one of them. And so all the evidence is overwhelmingly that she was not in the jail, and that these two helped facilitate a conspiracy to drag not only the Dodge County Sheriff's Office through the mud, not only the Department of Health, DHS and ICE through the mud, but me. And as an elected official, I run the jail. I'm ultimately responsible for it. And if you can't separate the sheriff's office from the sheriff, I'm responsible for that. And so my attorneys and I have been working very hard and putting all this evidence together. No, it was not done on with county taxpayer dollars. I just want to make that clear. I did this investigation, and my attorneys have done this investigation. There was some initial work done by our staff to identify what exactly happened, but this lawsuit has been done by me and my attorneys. We filed an amended complaint this week that really hones it in on all three individuals, presents all of this new evidence, and the whole goal of this is nothing more than accountability. The accountability that she can never do this again because she made many false complaints many times to many police departments, and we highlighted that in April. So she won't be able to do it again because her name's out there and people know her, and that we won't have any additional victims. She has created victims throughout the years, false allegations of sexual assault against a professor in Illinois, against one of her former boyfriends, and he got arrested for it until he was cleared. We've got this individual, her boyfriend now, who she's taken thousands of dollars from. And so she just victimizes people after victimizing them. And now, thankfully, after I did my press conference, the FBI got re-engaged. They came in, we want all the information so that we can look into this. So my goal is accountability in this, and the goal is clearing our name. Are we perfect? No, but this did not happen. And I want to make that very clear. We are going to protect our reputation because once our reputation is tarnished, it is very hard to rebuild that. Thankfully, the community, since we've put out this information, has been very supportive, and we're very thankful for that. But I can tell you, during that time between the press conference and our first release, when I put out that she was never in the jail, there was some very, very hateful speech that came from a lot of people towards me specifically, and towards the sheriff's office, our staff, and that's unacceptable for somebody to be able to do this, and then for us to have it was nationally that we had people calling and making things up that were clearly not true. So that's why we're doing this, and that's the update. We're going to continue to press forward, and the strong case that we had, and I think you were there at the press conference. The strong case that we presented that day is way stronger now after the subpoenas we were able to get through this federal lawsuit.
And I think it's obvious. There's a lot of strong feelings, regardless of your political stance, on how things are being handled by DHS and ICE and whatever. And yes, some things are not being handled well. Some things are being handled as per the books. But it sounds like this is one of those cases where things may. And again, at this point, stuff's still in litigation. So allegedly, some things may have been done in order to just ruin people's reputations. But I appreciate you coming on and taking a moment to clarify that for us. Last but not least, I want to touch on just something that's a very positive thing in the about a minute and a half we've got left here on the show. And this is something else that you're a huge part of. Obviously, we talked about you being out flipping burgers at the fair for the Rotary, but when people think about you and the Rotary, oftentimes the first thought we have is Rotary lights.
Yeah, and I just want to really push this out again. We've got a couple months of sponsorship opportunities coming yet. If you go to our website, bdrotary.org, you can find our available sponsorships. We've got a number of them that have come in. It's this time of year that they really start picking up and we start getting them in, and I don't want you to forget about it or miss it. So please check out bdrotary.org. We've got Christmas trees you can sponsor, angels. We've got some big displays that are there for sponsorship opportunities too. And the big displays is a 3-year sponsorship. It isn't just a 1-year thing. So please take a look and check it out. It makes the park beautiful every year. I know the city's going to be working on the pathways this fall yet before we get going. And it's going to change the display around quite a bit, and so we're looking forward to getting that done. But we do continue to need that sponsorship from the community to make this successful every year. If you got a flyer in the mail, dig it out. If you want to go to bdrotary.org, please do so there. We'll be getting things out on social media here in coming weeks as well to really remind people to get those in. Deadline, September 15th.
There you go. And Swamp Park, a real gem here within Beaver Dam, and the Rotary lights just making it a really shiny gem over that holiday break, which we always appreciate. Sheriff, always great having you on. Always look forward to having you on again. And I want to thank you for taking the time today.
My pleasure. Be safe, and we'll see you at the fair.
All right. Sounds great. This has been today's Community Comment.